What's up, you guys? First and foremost, I wanted to thank all of you for participating. There was an overwhelming number of comments for me to read through, and I did read through each and every crazy one of them. Now, as you know, the winners are all up to RNGesus, but due to the amazing response, I did the only fair thing that I could do, and I doubled the winners. So instead of 1 PCman and 1 4-player, I will be giving out 2 apiece for a total of 4 winners. I've already contacted them via YouTube, and just in case, their names are in the description box below. So if that's all you're here for, you are now free to go. Bye-bye! Now, for the rest of you lovely people who have stayed, can I just say that you guys cracked me the fuck up. Now, I'm not sure if maybe some of you didn't know what cannon meant, or if you were just trolling me, but I'm not sure that a semen gun that induced instantaneous labor, a gun that shot explosive rubber duckies, a Katamari ball launcher, and a disco gun would quite fit into the Warframe world. I mean, we don't even have dance emotes. But regardless, you guys put a huge smile on my face. Now, what I decided to do was put together some of the recurring themes or ideas in your submissions and work them into something that I could definitely see in game. And by rework, I mean tone down, because seriously, not every weapon can be a world destroyer. I mean, just look at what happened with the Silva and Aegis, right? You feel me? So, there was definitely a clear recurring theme in a lot of submissions when it came to mechanics. People wanted to see variations of projectile activity, from lasers that ricocheted off of surfaces, similarly to the miter and the glaive, bullets that bounce from enemy to enemy, much like the Amprex's tessellation, and tracer orbs that would home in on targets, kind of like the Grineer's Hellion missile barrage. There was also a lot of talk about alternate fire weapons that would provide some form of control effect. In fact, a good number of you wanted to see weapons that traded damage for control. So, what I thought I would pitch is weapons that can create auras around their target. Now, this came from the fact that a lot of people wanted to see weapons that could create a vortex-like effect. Now, here's the thing. If they created a weapon that could create a vortex, a la Vauban, there would be no point in having Vauban. So, either the effect would have to be scaled down or extremely temporary, and thus the aura mechanic is born. So let's start with the basics. The aura mechanic would encompass many different effects, from creating a damage over time aura around the enemy, to more control type effects like slows or even a possible vacuum slowly drawing enemies into the targeted enemy. For example, on primaries this could possibly be used on a continuous fire rifle. Think a flux rifle that would inflict the toxin element and force a damage over time aura as long as your target was alive. Or, for secondaries, a thrown dagger that would attach to your enemies Castana style and force the confusion status on them and anyone caught in the aura until you remotely detonated it. Those are just a couple of examples of what can be done with the aura mechanic, and I definitely feel like it's something that programmers could work with since auras already occur in game. Plus, we already have the Torrid, which can stick its gas grenades onto allies and enemies, so why not expand on it? I also loved it because it encompasses so many of the things that you guys wanted thematically, from Leech-style infested explosives to Grineer-style arc trap launchers. It's an extremely open-ended mechanic for the devs to elaborate on, and who knows, maybe they'll figure out a way to balance a vortex gun. Now onto the weapon end of the spectrum. There were definitely a lot of strong contenders. First off, the Kusarigama, which, for those of you who aren't aware, is a scythe kind of weapon which is attached to a counterbalance by a nice long chain. I think the combos on this would be absolutely sweet, especially since I'm a big fan of the whip stances. Next is what I like to refer to as puncture style weapons, like rapiers and spears. We have so many swirly combos in game that it would be nice to see some stabby movesets. I mean, let's face it, daggers and dual daggers feel more like you're ribbon dancing your opponent to death rather than properly running them through. Now, both of these would require new animation sets, but honestly, I'd much prefer that Jeff have a little gym time to keep up those biceps of his for the live streams. So, I'm willing to wait a little on this. Now, one of the secondaries that really got me riled up were grenades. Grenades need to be a thing. Whether they're remotely detonated, impact detonated, or timed, whether they're poison, cause eruptions of ice, or explode with needles, they just need to be a thing. It'll be an awesome aiming function for secondaries, and let's face it, the Grineer and Corpus have it, so why can't we? Now, for primaries, there were a lot of suggestions for some really heavy weapons like railguns, energy cannons, and rocket launchers, but the one thing that really caught my eye was something a lot simpler, and maybe it was more the concept that came behind it rather than the actual weapon itself. It started with a discussion about an infested-themed sniper rifle that shoots spikes which would produce an area of effect if you killed an enemy with it. And while that's totally sick, it led to the conceptualization of, pause, I want you to close your eyes and envision, an infested-themed bow that shot large toxic harpoon-like spines. Now if that isn't absolutely fucking savage, I do not know what is. And to be honest, I think that the reason that I really fell in love with this idea is the fact that, as a founder, someone who's been around since before Forma, someone who still remembers Iron Skin 1.0, I thought I had seen everything. I couldn't possibly picture anything new and exciting for me to get all riled up about. But this contest really proved me wrong. There's still so much to see and so much to look forward to, so thank you all for that. And thank you all for watching another one of these vlog things. Be sure to do all the things, and as always, stay tuned, because RNGesus is already growing restless, and before you know it, there will be more giveaways here at A Gay Guy Plays.